Thanks to everyone tuning on in for Games Invitational number 5. It is a Protoss versus Zerg to start things off. The map is Lost and Found, and here we are spawning up in the top right-hand side of the map, playing for Team Cascade and Team France in this case. It is DNS. And his opponent spawning down in the bottom left-hand side of the map, playing for his Polish flag. It is Elazer, also on Team Q-Lash. Elazer, one of the European Zerg monsters. There's no doubt about that. So DNS is going to have his work cut out for him. But these guys, they want to put a point on the board for their team, as it is a best of 7 for their team. They're only going to play 1 or 2 matches each. One to 3 matches each, technically, I guess, because of the 2v2. But, I mean, they're really just coming out here, and they want to do their team proud. As far as the builds go, Elazer just going for that slightly earlier hatch than usual. Zerg's just sick of getting blocked by early probes. But DNS not even sending one of those guys out, just playing it normal. Looks like we had a few follows coming in. Thank you very much for those guys. We greatly appreciate them. Trying to fill up that follower bar. Okay, but DNS just going for the gateway expand, whereas Elazer, on the other hand, just doing his standard thing. This is the balanced test mod, so we may see some of that come into play as far as the changes go. If you guys are unfamiliar with the balanced test mod, they are linked in chat with !balance, so you can check all those out. I may even be referencing them once or twice during the cast, but I think I've got the hang of most of them at this point. Or we should be on the balanced test mod. I believe we are. We may not be, honestly. But yes, thanks to everyone for tuning on in. We'll see. I'm eagerly checking for the chrono. But no, yeah, we see that assimilator. It has 300 health, and that means that we are indeed on the balanced test mod. Now that Adept is being chrono boosted out to start things off, the Stargate. So still the standard opening coming out of DNS right now. Meanwhile, the probe just sharking around, scouting out. Gonna have to head on home, but the Adept will be coming across the map to help relieve him. This is the very standard PvZ opening. That probe does have to be careful here, but I mean, he is gonna see that the third base is going up. Is he gonna be able to block it? No, he is not. Okay, now probe's heading on home. Elazer just got his lings all back. DNS is going to try and shade on in here, just get the scout off. I believe that is the Golden Age Protoss skin. But yes, I know that there's going to be a lot of you tuning on in. Some of you will be watching the Polish stream. Some of you will be watching the France team, or the French team. Make sure to cheer for whoever you want to win. You can even add the team that you want to win in the Matcherino message. Just !Matcherino. Adds 50 cents to the prize pool for free with code GAMES number 5. Enough of that. I'll mention it once or twice more later on in the cast, but basically the summary is you guys supporting the stream does help out these events. But DNS, he's getting up his Oracle. Of course, Elazer didn't see it. Stargate, no surprise in PvZ though. And Elazer, he's going to know the magic amount, as he is a very experienced player, the magic amount of time you wait before you get up your Spore Crawler. And so we'll see what DNS is going to be able to get done, but he's actually going into a second Stargate. Now, whether this is going to be for Mass Phoenix, who knows? Phoenix received a slight nerf in some regards, as, well, not really in PvZ, just because of how, when they lift up now, shield batteries and medivacs can heal the units that have been lifted. Oracle coming on in here, gonna try and maybe get a drone or two. Gotta get out of there right away. Ooh, it actually goes down, so a bit of a blunder there by DNS. Now DNS, getting up in a Zealot and an Adept back at home. Is he just going to be moving out with an odd number of Adepts here? Or is this just to secure his expansion? We will never know. The Phoenix, anyway, unfortunately for him, his Oracle counterpart has fallen, so now he's got to be prepared for this. Looks like DNS is going to be looking to secure that third base. And that probe moves out to secure that. The Adepts are going to be guarding that probe, making sure that Nexus can get on up. Meanwhile, the Phoenix just sharking around. Now, Elazer, he doesn't know that the build of choice that DNS has gone for is indeed going to be this double Stargate play. And so when these Phoenix move across the map, it will be a bit of a surprise for Elazer. However, Elazer this game is going for a very, very quick Hydralisk Den. He very well is probably just going to be trying to bust DNS. He's at 54 drones. He's stopped building drones, and he is just making Hydralisk right now. The third base for DNS, I mean, he can be in a lot of trouble. He's gone for a Twilight, and he's getting up Resonating Glaives behind this. So it's going to be Glaive, Adepts, and Phoenix versus Mass Hydra. Actually going to be able to find 2 Overlords, or he should probably turn around and get those 2 Overlords. Unfortunately for him, it looks like they're actually going to be able to get off there scot-free. Look at all those injured Overlords. So DNS not managing to kill those. We know he wants to come on in and finish them off. Elazer has to be on his toes to protect those. I did not intend to rhyme there, but Phoenix still coming on in for DNS. He does want to pick off these Overlords. He's going to find one of them, but doesn't actually manage to get the kill there. Elazer knows he needs to get those guys to safety there. Okay, now we've got DNS. He has been working on Resonating Glaive, so he's going to be coming across the map with a bit of a timing attack right now. Comes on in, picks off one of those Overlords finally. He could have gotten them a little bit sooner, or did he actually kill off? Yeah, he just killed off one of them so far. But now these Adepts are coming on in. However, they are caught out on the map, so this is looking pretty dangerous for DNS. Phoenix are going to come on in, lift up some of these Hydras to help out. However, the main ball of Hydras is going to be here, so DNS just has to retreat. He's transitioning into double Robo. Another Phoenix is going to rally too far forward, but he pulls it back. Now DNS, he's getting up 5 more gateways. That was just meant to be like a small timing attack in which he catches his opponent off guard. Elazer back at home, not at a super high drone count. He's just turning on the units right now. And DNS, he will be in trouble because, I mean, this is going to be a strong Protoss army hitting right now. He's getting up a shield batter. He knows that this attack is going to be on its way. Lings are starting to move across the map. It's going to be up to the Phoenix. That Zealot also needs to get in position desperately. But here comes the Lings. The Sentries could be in trouble right now. 2 Immortals will pop in order to help start dealing with this. And Immortal actually going to be surrounded. DNS has to lift that, I think, in order to keep it alive. Does he lift the Immortal, though? No, he does not. Okay, there's a lift. There's another lift on keeping those alive. Look at that, the shield battery actually healing his own Immortal. So there's the balance test mod coming into effect. Now, Elazer, though, he's just pulling the trigger on this right now. He's getting ready to come on in. 4 Adepts are warping in for DNS. He's got to try and make as many units as he can, but he's down on supply. Good force field to buy himself some time, and he can, in theory, force field this pretty much indefinitely to make those Banelings and Hydras go a long way around. So this will buy a lot of time for DNS. He's getting out more and more Immortals. It's going to be a desperate hold. He's got to force field that ramp once again. Those Banelings being held back on that side, but he's got to pull back on this side. Now, he's only fighting a portion of Elazer's army. This really is a best case scenario for DNS. I know it's hard to say that when there's so many Hydras and Banelings on his side of the map. DNS is going to have to retreat now. Lings, Banelings spilling forward. Adepts are in his wall to try and hold on. Phoenix are coming on in to desperately lift everything. Another Immortal pops out, but it's on the wrong side of town. The Adepts trying to clean up the Banelings, but they don't quite. GG gets called as Elazer takes the first map with that timing attack. All right. Okay, so Elazer managing to take that means that we are now going to have Clem versus Mana coming up next. Looks like that is being cut off just a little bit. Yes, Clem versus Mana coming up next here. Okay. Alright, so the veto format is a little bit unique for this tournament. We've sort of just got something that's working on the fly. The players getting excited in chat as Elazer managing to put one on the board for his team. So well done for Poland there. France going to have to work to bring it back. So basically how it works is that Clem gets to pick 2 map vetoes. It can't be lost and found as well, so 3 maps are not available for Mana, and then Mana gets to pick from the rest of them. But yes, thanks to everyone for tuning on in. I do appreciate you guys. Appreciate it, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. Acid Plant is going to be the map on the Balance Test mod. Now, Mana versus Clem should be a good one here. Should be a good Terran versus Protoss. Thanks to everyone for tuning on in. Make sure to, in the downtime, you can check out that Matcherino. You can support with the code GAMES5, but also there's the sponsored quests you can do. Basically, if you have a Twitter account, you press follow on a few things, and you can add a decent chunk to the prize pool. You can add like $1 to the prize pool just by pressing follow on some Twitter accounts, like 3 Twitter accounts. But we're going to get everyone on into the game. All right, but yes, thanks everyone for tuning on in today. Hope you guys are enjoying this event. It's a bit of an experimental event we're doing, but like I said, I do hope you guys are definitely enjoying it. After this one, by the way, we're gonna have the 2v2, a pro level 2v2 match. That alone should be worth it. Just making sure that everyone is ready, and then we'll be getting on into it. Thanks to everyone for tuning on in. We had a few more follows coming in, and we appreciate all of those. Just gonna have a second before all the players are ready. Looks like a lot of people from Korea watching, which is always exciting to see. Make sure to cheer on the team that you want to win. So far, it's looking good for Poland. Whether Clem's going to be able to tie things up or not is the question. Ooh, Clem currently ranked 16 on the Grandmaster ladder. That's no small feat. Alrighty. Both players are ready, so we are going to load on into it. Thanks to everyone for tuning on in. Poland versus France. All right. So this best of 7, pardon me, continues on. This man spawning up in the top left-hand side of the map, representing France and his team Exceed. It is Clem. His opponent spawning down the bottom right-hand side of the map, representing Poland. Going to want to put another one on the board. It is Liquid Mana. So Mana, a very good Protoss player for Poland. However, he's going to have to topple the young dog Clem. Now, the thing is, I mean, Mana already has one on the board for his team. He wants to keep it rolling, but of course France has a bit of, or Poland already has a bit of depth. They can afford to drop a map or 2 here and there. But of course, managing to 4-0 your opposing team would be pretty good for moral victory. But build-wise, Mana just moving out with a very early probe scout, as standard, as is common on in PVT at the moment. Pardon me. Gonna come on in and harass a little bit. Okay, now we've got the SCV kindly shows the probe a door. Mana not being too big of a too mean or anything like that, not harassing that SCV too much. However, the probe is going to be here, try and be a bit of a nuisance. Clem already sending 2 SCVs down, just knowing that he's going to have to shoo this thing away. Just wants to get up his expansion. Mana just going to delay it for not even half a second. Clem gets it up pretty much instantly. Now build-wise, second gas on the way for Mana. Command center on the way. Factory on the way as well. So Clem just following up his Reaper with the standard barracks and factory. Factory's tucked away in the back, a little bit hidden. Makes me wonder what he's going to do with it. Now this Reaper's going to try and get on in, as the Stalker will just be popping on out. The tech is actually a Robo for Mana. And now Clem, if he dives on in, he will definitely see this Robo. So Clem actually seeing the Robo Bay is a pretty important find. He may even get a probe, and he does. So a nice pick off there for the young French Terran. Gonna pick off the probe, get on out of there. Now, that Robo is so early for Mana. I was casting him versus Soul earlier, and he actually played a very good series versus Soul with a lot of early gateway aggression, going for the Stalker, Adept, and then another Stalker. The Widowmine has to sort of move out to the front to defend, but it definitely does put the aggression on your opponent. That Adept looking for that Reaper, unfortunately. That Adept is going to be kept back at home. Marines have to run on out of here. Widowmine's going to dive right on in, force that Stalker back. And as long as the Reaper keeps the Adept back at home, Mana has to respect this. Now, Clem's going to come on in with this Reaper. However, the Stalker's ready to intercept it. Reaper is going to get picked off. He doesn't see anything else too telling. Now, it is just Mana. He loves to do this early Stalker pressure. Seeing in chat, Shadow talking about how didn't Elazer propose a Poland versus NA show match? Honestly, I think that would go pretty good for Poland. Now, what's going good for Poland right now is that Mana, he's able to poke and prod with these Stalkers. Clem has to force these units back in order to just try and buy time for his bunker. He's going to pick off the Adept, but now the 2 Stalkers are chasing him back here. Clem's actually going for Drilling Claws right now, but he's got a Viking out. However, he's actually losing an SCV. He's lost a great deal of Marines versus this. Going to have to repair that Viking in order to keep shooting these Stalkers back. Vikings are pretty good versus Stalkers these days, but Clem, he's losing a lot of units right now. And meanwhile, this Observer is going to come on in. Okay, now that Widowmine is up. However, the Observer's there. Mana manages to pick it off. So Mana getting some fantastic trade so far. And even just more Stalkers are coming in for Mana. Clem never finished up his... he never finished up. Is Mana just going to win this game right now? Clem never got up his bunker. Some more Marines are rallying out, but too slow. The fact that the bunker never got up is tremendous for Mana. Stalker gonna come on in. Mana just baits that out right away. Marines and SCVs are gonna buy time right now. The bunker is gonna get on up, so Clem can dive on into that, but this isn't even that big of a commitment for Mana right now. Clem was trying to go for a Drilling Claws build, which, I mean, you gotta respect him for trying that, but look at this, Mana just with the Warp Prism, he keeps baiting this out. Clem is trying to pursue as Mana is doing all this fancy micro. Once Drilling Claws is finished, those mines will be able to quickly unburrow and burrow, and they will be invisible unless the Observer's there, so that's gonna help on out. Now, is the Observer there, or was it picked off? The Observer is still alive. And it is just in the main base. That mine, not actually seen by Mana, but he can still bait him out. There it goes, gets a connection, actually hits the Stalker. Looks like he chose to bait that out. Now that the Observer has been picked off, this Widowmine can try and connect. Can it hit the Warp Prism? And it does. He picks off the Warp Prism. However, all these Stalkers are still in the main base, so some SCVs are going to need to be pulled. Clem is microing his heart out. A lot of these Stalkers are weak. He doesn't manage to save the Viking there. SCVs are not mining right now. Mana has just been harassing Clem into oblivion right now. There's also no counter drop going on right now. That Medivac had to stay back at home, and oh man, this tank's actually caught here for Clem. The factory is going to unload on this, or lift off on this. I imagine that's going to be for double Widowmine production, and maybe just try and counter drop or something like that, since Clem, he invested in that burrow Drilling Claws, but Mana's just aggression hit hard. Now Mana back at home, he's going to be very comfortable. He's on 3 bases. The Drilling Claws is going to help Clem when he does start to drop out. He's opting to go for a third base, get up his stim pack, but he took a lot of damage from that, guys. He's down a tremendous amount of workers. He's going to try and macro out of it. So basically what Clem has to hope for here is he has to hope that he can get some fantastic Widowmine connections on the probes of Mana. Meanwhile, Clem just going to be trying to get up his barracks and everything else, but look at this. Mana's just going to poke out once more. This bunker is going to need to be repaired right now, but Mana can just blink back and micro versus this. There's no tank out just yet, or I believe there was a tank out. However, oh no, is this bunker going to fall? It is. Now this tank's going to have to get set up right now. Can Mana just blink on top of this? I don't think that he can, but he can also start looking for the main base. A Medivac is going to boost on out. Clem continuously producing mines right now. The Stalker's just poking his opponent. Now, there's all these Marines and tanks out. However, look at this, and actually an aggressive blink from Mana. There was no mine set up, so he picks off the tank. And now what does Clem have to deal with this? He's just got the Marines. The bunker has fallen. He's in so much trouble right now. He's going to need fantastic Widowmine hits back on the other side of the map in order to hang on, but it is looking pretty rough for Team France right now. SCVs are pulled on into this. Mines are trying to burrow. Stalker's even just going to bait out that friendly fire. Now the Widowmine drop's going to go on in. However, there is cannons set up. So those mines, they're getting good connections back on the other side of the map. However, Clem has to run those guys out there. Mana even warping in 2 Stalkers to try and pursue this down. And there's just so much on Clem's side of the map. Now, if Clem buys time for stim, he can be fine. Mana could potentially be overcommitting, but he can also start warping in Zealots in just a second right now. Widowmines are going to have to burrow to try and get the connections they need. But look at that. They actually just get picked right on off. SCVs are going to have to be pulled. It's looking very rough for Team France right now. The Bio is going to try and fight on the front line. Stimpack has just finished up right now, so they can start pursuing these units, but Clem has lost so many SCVs. Mana just warping in a ton of Zealots in the face of Clem, microing those Stalkers back and forth, and Clem is in a lot of trouble. He's going to try and return with the Widowmine drop, but the cannon picks that off. GG, Mana takes the 2-0 lead for Poland. National level 2v2, guys. I'm excited to cast this and see how well this is going to go. All right. Here we are. It's a best of 7. And spawning up in the top right-hand side of the map, it is Elazer and his teammate, Mana, representing Team Poland. And spawning down in the left-hand side of the map, it is Denver and Clem. So a TZ versus a PZ should be an exciting match to cast. Now, what we can notice here about the players, they went through all the vetoes, and I mean, since it's a 2v2 map, it's a rather large one, guys, but the players actually chose the map with the back expansions. So, that's how the vetoes ended up working out. So players having very safe expansions, but Denver is choosing to expand out, just being a Zerg. And then also it comes into play, how are you supposed to creep spread and things like that? Now, what builds are these two guys going to choose? Of course, there's going to be a lot going on since it is a 2v2. I'm going to try and cover absolutely everything that I can, but I mean, it is a 2v2, so you never know. Build-wise, it looks like that Clem just going for a standard Reaper expand. Clem has built his supply depot by the ramp here, whereas the actual entrance is right here, which is interesting. Now, the Zergs are actually both expanding here. The Protoss player, Mana, he is going for a Cybercore first, so probably going to be rushing tech if I had to guess. Stargate or Phoenix, but you never know what these guys have planned for this. Clem is SCV scouting, seeing that Elazer has a normal pool time. He's also going to come on in to Mana's side of the map, I imagine, see that he's gone for the Cybercore first. He's also checking for an Expo, but he decides to have a look at Mana's main base, and I mean, seeing that Cybercore first is important, as Mana's going to be likely rushing out some sort of tech. And there's that Stargate going up for Mana. So these players are going to know that they need to be ready for this. So Mana's cutting his economy to get out this tech rather quickly. Meanwhile, the SCV for Clem is hanging around here. It's going to be hiding, maybe trying to go on in for that scout later on. But look at this Mana. He's definitely looking for it, or just looking to take and expand. We'll see. But Elazer actually going for a third base. All right, so I mean, these guys, they're showing a lot of respect in this 2v2. I mean, it is such a large map, it could be a long one. As we see in these paths here, Mana's Adept is moving out on the map. Elazer, or Clem actually, with such a sick Duke, just avoids it. The Lings for Denver trying to maybe engage it, but getting ahead of themselves. Their 2 Lings cannot fight an Adept. Third base is going to be going up for Denver from the look of it. Elazer's is already on the way. The third has been scouted. Now Mana, his Stargate's finished up. He's getting up this Oracle, and he's actually going double Stargate. So Mana really committing towards this tech. Looks like the Adept did shade into Denver's base. The Marine with the assist, so actually no drones died there, so that Adept got cleaned on up. The only worker to die is one of the Elazer's, and I honestly missed how that happened. It might have been a scout or something. Or perhaps the Reaper got it. Let's check that Reaper out. Reaper has 2 kills, so Reaper likely killed off one of the drones there. So what we've got, Team Poland, Elazer just macroing up, whereas Mana committing to this heavy Stargate play. And then DNS and Clem, he's just producing what looks to be a 1-1-1, just going to be producing a lot of Marines, tanks, and starports. So maybe these guys are going to be looking for a timing attack. It's Clem, he's maybe getting up to tanks, whereas Denver's starting a Baneling nest. I mean, it's hard to know what to do in this sort of matchup. Now, the Lings for Denver have actually managed to make it, or these are Elazer's Lings. They're chasing a Ling of Denver. That's hard to see. 2 red Lings and a purple one. Very close in color there, but, I mean, Elazer, he's now coming across the map with all of his own Lings. Worker count is relatively even on all sides. Denver, he's going to get his queen into position. His own Lings are going to come on down, shoot Elazer away. Meanwhile, Clem, he's now getting up in eBay, a Viking. He's been producing just tanks and Marines non-stop here. He's got up a CC. And he's going to be starting turrets in his bases just to make sure that he's covered from the mass Stargate play of Mana. But, I mean, these guys, they could be putting on the aggression right now. And Clem, he's getting ready to move on out, if I had to guess, because he's just been producing off this 1 base for now. The main thing I'd say for the deal right now is that Elazer, he's going into a lair. He's getting up a Roach Warren. He's on a pretty good economy, 52 workers. Whereas Clem and Denver are getting ready to move on out on their side of the map, and they are coming in with everything. We'll see. Now, Mana, he can maybe throw up a stasis ward, but the main thing right now is that Mana, he is committed to so many Phoenix. He doesn't have much else out. He's going to be able to pick up the Viking, deny some mining, delay the later barracks, but the main army push is going to be pretty darn scary for Clem and Denver as they push on in right now. Time is probably going to be on Elazer's side as he's just making a lot of roaches, which will help out. But Denver's actually just taking the fight right now. He's got the superior number of Lings, and he knows that he's diving right on into Elazer, and he's got all of his Banelings up right now. Meanwhile, the army of Clem's rolling on in. Tanks are going to be getting set up. Massive Baneling connections there. Elazer's third base is being ransacked by Team France right now. Some of his roaches pop out, but they're on the wrong side of town. Denver just getting right on top of them. So this looks to be a successful attack from Team France. Now, Mana, he's got all these Stargate units, but they can't really help out versus the mass Marines. And when the tanks get set up, it's going to cause a lot of problems for Elazer. Now, he's sort of trapped right now. His natural base is cut off. Meanwhile, they're trying to get on in towards the main base. Oracles are engaging into these Marines. I'm trying to decide how to cast this, guys. Phoenix lifting everything up they can. Roaches are fighting this. I mean, Clem Denver is starting to thin out a little bit, but they may very well have just cut off their opponents. Lings are in the main base of Elazer. The drones are running. The medivacs are getting picked off by the Phoenix. Mana, he just doesn't seem to have enough to really help out his teammate right now. Elazer tried to produce enough roaches, but Clem and Denver are coming in strong right now. Mana's producing everything that he can. He's got oracles working away on this, but Elazer taps out. He knows that Clem and Denver hitting strong with this push, and Team France puts one on the board. All right, so Team France reigning supreme in that 2v2 with the strong attack for the event. Really helping out with the prize pool. And Kamoju supported $10 and 2 $5 donations. So that really helps out supporting this event, guys, because, I mean, it is my own bones that I put up to this, but all right. So spawning, oh, gotta fix that. Spawning down in the bottom right-hand side of the map, representing Team France, it is Infinity Gaming's Denver. He's gonna want to tie things up for Team France, and his opponent spawning up in the top left-hand side of the map. It is Iron Chain's Nerchio. So we've got ourselves a ZVZ. It's honestly been a while since I cast one. As far as the match arena goes, I see some of you guys talking in the chat about it. All the codes have been used up, which is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. But if you didn't know, basically, if you have a Twitter link, unfortunately, we are done with all of our codes, but there are sponsored quests you can do on Twitter, and that basically just means you press the follow button on 1 or 2 accounts, and it actually adds a pretty decent chunk, even more than the coupon code, if you do them all to the prize pool, and that really helps out the event. But anyway, big thanks to everyone who did support using the codes and support in other ways. It's very appreciated. But yes, thanks for the support. Now, in this ZVZ, we've got pretty mirror things going on. Gas up for both players. A little bit earlier for Nerchio. That's the only thing that is different here. But it is exciting that Poland managed, or that France, pardon me, managed to win that 2v2 match, because that means we'll be having at least a 5th match, which means we'll be entering the all-kill format. So the winner of this will be playing next versus one of the 2 other members of the opposing team, which should be a fantastic match. All right, but yes, thanks everyone for tuning on in. If you're enjoying the stream, feel free to leave a follow. As, I mean, there is the seconded downtime in ZVZ at the start. I mean, both these guys are macroing up, which is always exciting to see, as opposed to just like a 13-12 or a pull the boys. Although pulling the boys in ZVZ, while chaotic, can be pretty fun. Now, I mean, Denver, he's a very good Zerg, but Nerchio really is the old guard. Denver's opting for a fast 3rd base here. Nerchio starting his as well, though, so very mirror builds, very respectful in ZVZ, not worried about a Ling flood or anything just like that. Both of them have their 2 Lings out, and they will end up meeting there. Denver gonna shoo Nerchio off his turf there. However, then Nerchio comes in with 4 more Lings. It's like, oh, I have 2 Lings, get on out of here. You guys are going to have to leave. But then Nerchio says, no, I'm going to stay here. So he's going to poke and prod with his own Lings. However, the Queen of Denver coming down, going to help shoo these Lings away. Not going to want to take any free damage on that hatchery. And this Queen actually shoots that Overlord, but then gets on out of there. Now, speed will be finishing up for both players pretty darn soon. Nerchio actually has 16 Lings on the way. A Baneling nest on the way for both players. Some Lings on the way for Denver as well. However, Nerchio, he's being a bit of a pain here, working away on that speed. Should be finishing up for Denver pretty darn soon here. There we go. So now it's going to be a lot of Lings versus a lot of Lings, guys. I mean, Denver, he is going to be down a little bit as Nerchio's rallying out a lot more. So, I mean, Denver, he may actually lose his hatchery here, and that would be pretty drastic in a ZVZ. Basically mirror ZVZ, just Nerchio squeezing out more Lings. He's forcing more out of Denver, but Denver could be in trouble right now as his Queens are getting surrounded. Now, some Banelings are being started for Denver. He's got more Lings on the way. His Banelings are tucked very nicely into a corner here. Nerchio going to have a tough time focusing them down. However, worker count, Denver's falling behind. Nerchio is squeezing out a few drones behind this. He's maybe going to try and finish off that hatchery. Denver has to pursue and try and save that, because if he loses his 3rd base, that's going to be very troublesome in his EVZ. It looks like he will manage to save it. He's going to have to keep a hawk's eye on that. As if a counterattack goes down, I mean, that hatchery is so low on health. Only 95 health now. All right, now Zerglings for Denver can move out to Nerchio's side of the map. It looks like he's actually going to put on some counter-aggression. Lings are going to be heading on in here to Nerchio's base. Denver really going to try and return the favor. He lost some of his own Queens. He's going to try and get those of Nerchio. Drones are going to be pulled for Nerchio to try and save him, but no, Denver definitely going to get on in this. The ebb and flow of ZVZ now in the favor of Denver. He's trying to dodge some of those Banelings. Looks like there's actually some pretty decent connections, but a lot of his own Banelings are going to be running on in here. Nerchio gets a pretty darn good hit with his own Banelings, though, and picks off all of Denver's right now. Denver is down on drones a little bit, but he's going to be hammering this on in more. He's going to be coming on in with his Lings, trying to surround the morphing Banelings of Nerchio, but those will be finishing up in a second. He's denying a lot of mining time, as Nerchio has actually had to pull drones on into this fight right now. Denver's going to have some more banelings finishing up in just a second. Right now is going to be a baneling versus baneling explosion going on right now. Denver just avoiding those banelings of Nerchio. I mean, looks like that he's not going to have enough lings to finish this up. Some of his own banelings do finish up. They get decent connections there. However, it looks like Denver, is he going to be routed by Nerchio? Nerchio's just squeezing out as much as he can, but that defender's advantage looks like it may be enough to shoo him away. Denver may try and get this queen. He's got to be careful of those banelings of Nerchio. He's actually just peeling off his own lings to try and force those banelings to explode. He's going to catch the queen now. One last baneling. He's going to try and segment off and get it. He wants to pick off that queen. Another baneling comes on in for Nerchio, though. But suddenly, looking at this game, the worker count has equaled up. Nerchio's got a fair few more lings, so he may be able to counterattack right now. Denver's going into a roach one, starting up more lings, but it's important to remember the hatchery of Denver was actually so low, and Nerchio's coming right on in for it. Drones are going to be pulled, but I think this hatchery is done for, so Denver, he's going to be losing a base right now. Looks like a bit of counterattacking going on, but not amounting to too much. And Nerchio, he kept his base alive, whereas Denver did not, so that is going to be fantastic for him. A few drones are pulled into the fight right now, but the fact that Denver lost his base is going to cost him a lot. I mean, he's going to have to rebuild that immediately. He starts a second Roach Warren, which is a pretty clear mistake for Denver there. Maybe just worried about the counterattack, but you don't want two Roach Warrens, Denver. So Denver may have to cancel that extra Roach Warren. Roach Warrens are finishing up for both these players, but yeah, a bit of a mistake there. A second Roach Warren coming on up, but what does Denver do? Does he try and rebuild up his third base while this is going on? Just play from behind? A lair is on the way for both players. Denver, I mean, there we go. He cancels that extra Roach Warren. Now, he's got out a good number of lings, so he is going to be able to counterattack Nerchio right now. Okay, so here comes in these lings. They're going to be looking to hit hard, perhaps. This is so many banelings, though, for Nerchio. Denver, he wants to really return the favor. He's trying to segment off those lings. So far, pretty decent connections there. It's just so stressing. These banelings trying to get the connections. Banelings of Denver rolled nullify two of Nerchio's there, so just trading off, but so far he's not able to break Nerchio. He's just buying time for his own third base. In Denver, he knows he'd be behind if it was just the Roach versus Roach, so he's going into a Spire behind this. On Nerchio, his main base is actually somewhat exposed, but if Denver loses all of his lings, Nerchio will be able to counterattack once more. So Denver, he's down on workers. He's going to try and overcome this deficit with his Spire. Now, his third base that was rebuilding is going to be finishing up pretty soon. Nerchio, he's getting up an Overseer, though, so he's going to be able to come on in here and see that it is going to be a Spire popping out of Denver here. And the Spire, I mean, they take a long time to build. Nerchio's coming on, or Denver's coming on in here. He runs right into the banelings of Nerchio, though. And suddenly, Nerchio, he can just move across the map with these roaches that he's produced. And I don't know if Denver's going to be able to stop this. He's got to be making something. Yeah, Denver knows that if he waits for mutas, he'll be dead. But regardless, he may just be dead, because here comes in the lings right now. And, I mean, what does Denver have in order to hold on to this? He's got some of his own lings. He tucks the queen away, which is very important. He's got some roaches on the way. Nerchio's got speed coming in. He's just has a handful of roaches. It's not an overwhelming amount, so Denver may be able to hold this off with his own roach rally here. Queens are going to need to transfuse to make sure they stay alive. However, there's actually that balance patch. The queens, I mean, they don't regain all their HP at once. So Denver, he does manage to rout Nerchio, and he can squeeze out a few Mutalisk now. Now, did Nerchio see that Spire? Yes, he did, so he knows that Mutalisk can be on the way, and as a result, he has built his Hydralisk den in order to shoot back versus these. Now, Nerchio looking for a bit of a counterattack. Nerchio's playing a very good ZVZ so far. Denver was trying to squeeze out a fourth base while this is going on. However, the lings for Nerchio are going to run right on into it. Will they be able to pick it off is the question, though. It's not too many lings, but Denver, he's now down on economy. He's getting up, or Nerchio's also getting up his fourth base. Denver desperately needs to save this base. These slow roaches taking so long to get over here to save it. The base will be saved. Lings popping out for Denver are going to be able to find these overlords right now. And I mean, they have speed, but mutas are very quick, able to pursue them down. And this is a lot of overlords here for Nerchio, so Denver is going to be able to try and pick off all of these. There's just a lot of overlords to choose from for Denver. He's actually going to be pulling these mutas off, I guess, for vision. Meanwhile, the rest of them are looking around to get something done. Mutas chasing down all these overlords of Nerchio. So Nerchio gonna have to rebuild some of these. Meanwhile, the mutas coming into the main base of Denver, actually picking, or into the natural base of Nerchio, not the main base of Denver. What am I talking about? Mutas come on in. They're actually finding a good number of drones right now. So while Nerchio, he's getting into these scary Hydralisks, The mutas are finding some nice bit of damage. However, here comes in the massive counterattack from Nerchio. He's just pulling the trigger with his roaches. I think the drones of Denver are going to have to run. His roaches can try and buy time for the mutas. However, these mutas will take a long time to clean this up, but are they going to be able to buy enough time? Drones are going to be falling on Denver's side of the map. His mutas have come back, though. They're starting to work away on this. It's going to be close, though, but Denver, a few roaches rallying out is buying him a lot of time. His drones are running towards another base, and it looks like he will be able to clean up what Nerchio has. A few of Nerchio's roaches making it into the main base, but not going to be getting too much done. Nerchio picked off a few drones there, but it looks like everything should be cleaned up. So a good hold there for Denver. He's staying alive in this ZVZ. Right now he's got 9 Mutalisks. He's got his own roach count, but Nerchio is now starting to produce these Hydras. He knows he needs some sort of anti-air, picking off some of Denver's own Overlords. But we'll see what these Mutas can get. However, for Denver, they're flying right on over. They cannot focus down those Queens. Some of Denver's roaches are running right on in. They got to turn around and go home. Now Denver, he's getting up his own +2. He's even committed to his +1 higher attack. So, I mean, these Mutas, they deal a lot of damage, but here comes in Nerchio once again. He's moving across the map. Or actually, this is Denver's army, pardon me. The green and blue is tough, guys. Alright, but Denver, pardon me, is sharking around with these mutas. Going to be looking for some sort of damage. Meanwhile, Nerchio, he's just balling up with his Roach Ravager. Looks like a few roaches are planning on counterattacking for Denver, but they will be sent away. So far, I mean, Denver, he's done a good job staying alive in this game. Apparently, he did lose his 4th hatchery while this was going on. I'm not sure how that happened. So he's only on 3 bases, so he's got to do something to come back in this game. Oh, what's going on here? Queen's killing off an egg or something, or working away on it. Meanwhile, the mutas are still sharking around for Denver, but he's very limited in what he can get. These Hydras keep pushing him away. Queen's ready to intercept, so these mutas are kind of trapped right now. They just got to get back and stay safe. Ooh, Hydras actually pick off one of the mutas there, and suddenly Denver, he's in a very rough spot. We see he's just got roaches on the way, but he's down in drones. He's down on drones. He's only got the 3 bases. He's trying to pull Nerchio out of position. He's trying to break up that ramp, but Ravager's leading the way is not what he wanted. But that's what happened. I mean, supply-wise, Denver not in a bad spot with all of his roaches being his supply, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to push up the ramp right now. He's dropping corrosive balls to push Nerchio back, getting a decent connection or two there. But Denver, oh man, look at all these overlords he's rallied out. His muta's working away, denying some mining in Nerchio. However, Nerchio hot in pursuit right now, just deciding maybe he can end the game right here, right now. Denver's producing some more Ravagers. He's got the defender's advantage right now. Supply-wise, it's relatively even up, despite Denver being on the lower economy. Corrosive Balls going down on both fronts. It's Ravagers and Roaches versus Hydras and Roaches. Nerchio's trying to push on in. It may be a bit ambitious, though, to break this. The mutas for Denver, part of his supply, are not in this fight, though, but it's gonna be so close whether he can hold on or not. The Hydras are putting out a lot of damage in the back, and it looks like that Nerchio may be able to break Denver. Denver's gonna try and pull back, but for what, he doesn't have an extra base to fall back onto. Losing this 3rd base will be absolutely critical, and Nerchio takes the lead for Poland 3-1. All right, but can DNS be the saving grace of Team France? That is the question. Alrighty, and we are loading on in. It could potentially be the final match. A lot of viewers from everywhere is always great to see. But it is time. Nerchio versus DNS. It's a best of 7. Team France versus Team Poland. And it's currently looking pretty good for Team Poland. Spawning down in the bottom right-hand side of the map. He's going to try and close it out. It's Nerchio. Also representing Iron Chain. His opponent spawning up in the top left-hand side of the map. The ace for Team France. It is Cascades DNS. I don't know if the term's actually ace or not, since it's not like 3-3 or anything. Although he is going to have to be the one who brings it back. Alright, so DNS moving out with a very early probe. Gonna likely be a pain try and block Nerchio's expansion. And I mean, on Dreamcatcher, forcing the Zerg to take the 3rd base could definitely come back and hurt them later, because, I mean, the 3rds can be pretty big targets. And they're not in the most comfortable locations on this map. Alright, so Nerchio does go for his hatchery first, however, it is out on the map. DNS is going to be content with that block. Probe says, all right, hatchery's either got to be up somewhere else or it'll be very late. Moves on in here, sees there's no spawning pool on the way or anything like that. Now DNS, meanwhile, this is going on, getting up his gateway. Just going to be going for his 1 gate expand. All right. Now that probe just coming on in, harassing Nerchio's workers. Messing with the mining pathing a little bit, but in the end he is going to be returning on home with his own handful of minerals. All right. So Nerchio, I mean, he's been forced to take the 3rd base location, and usually Zergs do follow this up just by getting up their 3rd base so that everything's sort of connected. Drones are now starting to rally across the map. Alrighty, look at this. DNS just being a bit of a pain. Probe comes back in, goes for the pylon block there. Is he actually going to let this finish? Is he going to build a cyber core or something? It's possible that DNS will build something else. Really just liking to be a nuisance. Okay, so Probe just sharking around, still denying Nerchio his 3rd base location, so liking to be a nuisance here. However, Nerchio actually just sends his lings across the map. So DNS's Adept is going to have to come back to clean those up. And Nerchio, he sees the Twilight Council. I do apologize for a bit of a break in the casting there, but it's actually not the Adept, it's a Stalker, pardon me, that was being produced. The Adept is already out on the map. Scouting out, going to pop on in. Sees there's no 3rd base for Nerchio. So Nerchio, I mean, his normal macro has been disrupted a little bit. He's going to be getting up his 3rd base, but it is going to be a little bit later than he wanted. And now actually the Stalker may be able to very well kill this Overlord off if it steps out. And it is going to do just that. Adept is scouting out, making sure that there's no lings running across the map. And there are the lings though, so Stalker not taking the bait. That Overlord was bait there for that Stalker. Now DNS, he's going to be following up this Twilight Council with a Dark Shrine. Nerchio did scout out the Twilight Council. However, it's always possible that this will just be for the DTs into the eventual Archon drop. Alright, now the lair. Roach Warren on the way for Nerchio, so getting ready to defend whatever will be coming his way. He's connecting his bases with Creep. Now Nerchio getting up his lair at his 3rd base, interestingly enough. I guess just trying to hide that tech, and then the Roach Warren on the way. Now DNS, he'll be getting out a Warp Prism, of course. Got to be able to warp in those DTs somehow. He's going to have 4 gateways, so 4 the magic number of DTs to eventually become Archons. But he is going to want to get something done with this. Now, Dreamcatcher, there's a fair bit of room for the Warp Prism to shark around. But Nerchio knocking down his rocks, trying to get ready. He's already starting up a Spore Crawler in one of his bases, and then he'll be able to make some Roaches in order to respond to this. But as far as the actual DT threat goes, I mean, it's so often just talked about that this will be an Archon drop, but no, it's actually DTs out of DNS. Nerchio, though, I mean, he's already getting up an Overseer, really anticipating this. So an Overseer in one base, Queen's in position, and a Spore at another. So we'll see what these DTs are able to get done. Now, this is actually a strong bait here coming out of DNS. These DTs are going to run right on in. They're actually going to click on that Spore Crawler, if I had to guess. They got to be careful, though. That Warp Prism's going to have to come around and save them as they do start to retreat, since there is that Spore Crawler. And it's actually a recall from DNS just to get those DTs back home, which is a rather interesting choice. I mean, he wasn't being counterattacked or anything. Just not deciding to go for that Archon drop. Just going to get up his 3rd base back at home. Will he go back and just lift those up now in the Prism? That was a bit of an odd choice to recall there. Now he is just getting up sentries, some Zealots and Immortals, starting to secure up his 3rd base. Getting up the Immortal count, as Nerchio was forced to go into Roaches. You do need really need Roaches in order to deal with an Archon drop. Alright, but DNS will be coming in with this Archon drop eventually. However, lots of Queens in position. We'll see what it's able to get. Maybe can deny a creep tumor or two. We'll do just that. Picks off one of them. But the queens are going to be in position to shoo this away. Now DNS, he's just macroing up now. He's getting up his charge. He's building up an immortal count, so it's possible he may want to hit another timing attack behind this. With 4 gateways on the way, he's going to be able to warp in an absolute ton of zealots for now. But Roach's working away on this on these rocks right now. And a forge on the way. So he's macroing up. All right, now Warp Prism sharking around. Yeah, the lair at the third base, it was an interesting choice from Nerchio. I guess just maybe make it hard for DNS to scout out. And it does give it more HP, but of course it's always risky. So, I mean, that's something I feel as if pro gamers could have like a 20-minute discussion on. As far as this game goes on right now, though, DNS, he's getting ready to move on in. He's going to have 4 Archons, some Immortals, and Sentries. He's going to be wanting to hit a strong timing versus Nerchio. He's warping in a lot of Zealots, too, to join up with this, so his army is going to be hitting hard. He built a Forge, but he never started upgrading because he's just going for it right now. Will Nerchio be able to react? He's going to have a lot of Roach and Ravager, but nothing else to defend this, and I mean, these Immortals and Sentries are going to be very terrifying. DNS will have to be careful with his Archons not to, you know, sort of wall this out, but some fantastic force fields going down already. Nerchio was already placing down corrosive balls to free those units, but more Zealots being warped in. There's going to be some more force fields, and this lair, I mean, we'll see if this extra health on it's going to help out versus this push right now. DNS just going right on it, trapping some of those units. Archons getting on top of some of the drones. The Zealots are getting a lot of face time. However, they are sort of spilling forward and being picked off. DNS is going to want to warp in another round as his buffer. However, this lair, it is going to fall. Nerchio is desperately going to try and save it. However, he's afraid of the full-on commitment right now. Force field's going down, locking in some of the Roaches. DNS getting a good engagement right now. Queens are here to help out. DNS going to micro back that Warp Prism. Immortals just getting right on top of this. DNS is pulling back, and the lair does go down for Nerchio. Looks like DNS's army will be cleaned up, though. He's going to want to try and save as many of these units with the Prism as he can. He can pull these sort of, you know, back over the cliff in order to keep them alive, but Nerchio just traded out a lot of supply there. DNS retreats back at home. He's warping in some Zealots back there. Got some sentries up. And now he's transitioning into a Robo Bay as the follow-up. But Nerchio, I mean, he's only on 2 bases now. He's going to elect to counterattack, but, I mean, DNS, he's already going to have a fair bit to respond to this. The Zealots will spill forward. Where are the Immortals is the question. It looks like that Prism is going to be getting recalled. And there it is. So now Immortals can join the fight. And DNS with Immortals versus low numbers of Roaches, the Prism is just a godsend in order to stay alive. He's warping in even more Sentries. He's going to have a ton of force fields. DNS opts to pick up a lot of his Zealots. He's going to be going for some counter harassment. Nerchio is double expanding, but keep in mind, guys, he lost his lair. He got up an infestation pit, but he's not going to be able to go for hive or anything anytime soon, since he did build his third base, or his lair at his third base, and that was where DNS attacked. The map Dreamcatcher coming in very handy for DNS. That choke point was very good for him. Now, DNS, he's going to follow this up with a Disruptor. He's got another Forge on the way. I believe he already had one. Or no, he must have canceled his Forge, actually. So now he's rebuilding that so he can start his +1. But Nerchio doesn't even have his have any upgrades on the way yet. He's just committing to a lot of Roach and Ravager. And he may be trying to hit a timing versus this, but DNS, he's going to be coming on into the main base with this Prism. Going to be able to unload a lot of Zealots right now. There's the Zealots. They're going to be able to spill forward, try and connect with this Queen right now. Oh, that Warp Prism, it does get picked off by those Spores, though. That's a pretty big mistake there for DNS. He's going to be able to get the Queen, but Nerchio will be dealing with this, just accepting a bit of lost mining time. So losing that Prism, a pretty big blow to DNS. And okay, I mean, DNS is going Disruptors, getting up some more Archons, but Nerchio, he's actually committing into Swarmhost here, since he did get up his Infestation Pit. And I mean, Swarmhost can be very good versus Protoss. Alright, now DNS, he's going to expand to the right, take his 4th base, so not just fully committing on in here. He's got these hallucinated Phoenix, and they will actually scout out these Swarmhost, which is a very important find for DNS to know what's coming his way. He may start transitioning out of Disruptors, because, I mean, Disruptors definitely not going to help you out versus Locust. However, DNS may just not give his opponent time, as he's got a very scary army. Once again, all these Sentries, Archons, the Immortal's still here, and he actually catches some of the Swarmhost. Good force fields, finding these right out the gate. Nerchio went a little bit too far forward with him. He's even got the Disruptors now. And I mean, Disruptors can really punish this Roach Ravager. The Roaches are trying to focus down with the Disruptors, and they do get it. However, they step through the choke point, and Nerchio taps out. GG, as DNS was just coming through with a very strong army. And DNS keeping Team France alive. All right. So now Poland's going to have to send out a player to defeat DNS. All right, but yeah, DNS managing to close that out. Thanks to everyone for supporting the Matcherino and everything, by the way. I know all the codes have been used up, but you can still support for free by using... you can still support for free by using the... Pardon me. The Twitter, the free Twitter quests. You guys may know that I like pause and look like an idiot at times, but it's because I'm thinking about all the adminning and everything like that. It's a lot of multitasking, but I do appreciate everyone tuning on in. All right. You can also get the replays for this event on the Balance Test mod if that's something that you want. Contributors to the Matcherino do get access to those at the end of the event. All right. But we are still waiting. Poland, the Poland player that they're going to send forward will be able to choose the map as well. So the next match is going to be very tough for DNS. If I had to guess, I think it's going to be Elazer coming out. And it is indeed Elazer on Cerulean Fall. Now, DNS had a very tough time versus Elazer in the very first match of the tournament. So, DNS, can he bring it back? I mean, if he can fall Elazer, then all he has to beat is Mana. I mean, I say all he has to do is beat Mana in a PvP. But if he can beat Elazer, then that really makes the hope alive for Team France. All right, guys. Okay, we're just having just doing a bit of adminning here, speaking to the players and everything. Yes, just explaining the format and everything. It is a bit of a unique format due to the 2v2 getting thrown in there, messing with things a little bit. But it is going to be Elazer versus DNS on Cerulean Fall. Alright, I do apologize for the downtime. But yes, we shall be loading on into the next game now. Well, getting on into the lobby. Where do you live? US West, close guess. Canada West. So a little bit north. Okay, yes. And thanks to everyone for tuning on in. Hope you've been enjoying this content. If you are enjoying it, feel free to leave a follow. You can check me out on Twitter and YouTube, as that's where all the VODs and everything will go. All right. Either way, the way that it works is that DNS, he is the ace for Team France. He's got to be able to beat Elazer here and then beat Mana if they want to... they want to win that. Ah, yes. All right, but we're getting everyone on into the lobby now. Bit of adminning and everything going on. Okay. Email having that lobby bug in which sometimes people can't join the lobby. Thank you for the kind words, the Berserker. Yeah, we've got people all over watching, which is really awesome to see. Okay. As there is the official French and Polish cast for this event. Alrighty. Just making sure everyone is ready. No, I do not live in South Korea. I have never been to Korea. I plan on it at some point when I can manage it. And that's the dream. Go watch GSL. Maybe if one of my favorite players has a really deep run in GSL, I'll just hop in a plane or something like that. We are just waiting for all the players to be ready, and then we can hop on into the game. I appreciate everyone tuning on in. It's been a fun event so far. DNS is asking for 2 minutes. So we shall kill 2 minutes. Yes, in the meantime, while we have the downtime, you guys can feel free to check me out at !caster. I do apologize for the bit of downtime here, but with the all-kill format, the players do have to make up their mind as who's going to come next, because everything isn't predetermined in advance. The first 4 maps of today were predetermined in advance: Elazer, DNS, Mana, Clem, the 2v2, and then Nerchio, Denver. But at this point, the players are sort of playing it by ear as to who they field, and they're fielding Elazer on Saralin Fall versus DNS, which I think is a very good choice for Team Poland, honestly. It will be tough for DNS to overcome Elazer. However, Saralin Fall, being one of the big maps, is going to allow DNS to be able to say... He's going to be able to play late game if he wants. Saralin Fall is a good map for that, although whether Elazer will let him is a different question. So we are now loading on into the game. Thanks to everyone for tuning on in. I hope you're enjoying this content. It could potentially be the last match. Otherwise, we are going to be heading on into the Ace. for both teams, which will actually be Mana versus DNS. Since DNS managed to beat Nerchio, and then he managed to beat Elazer. Okay, but here we are. It's a best of 7. This man spawning down the bottom left-hand side of the map. He is carrying the hope for Team France. It is DNS. And his opponent spawning up in the top right-hand side of the map. He is the Monster Zerg for Team Poland. It is Elazer. Now, DNS managed to beat Nerchio, but Elazer is a very good player. He does play a different style. I mean, Nerchio is an exceptional player too, but on the map Dreamcatcher, playing Immortal Sentry, that sort of style that DNS went versus Nerchio, who makes a lot of roaches, I think that was a very good choice for DNS, but not going to have as much success with it on Cerulean Fall, I feel. So we'll see what the build is going to be from DNS. All right. Hatchery going up. I mean, very standard stuff coming out of these two guys. And I mean, the reason why we wanted to do that, I wanted to do this show match, guys, is because I know Poland and France have some very good countries, and I've wanted to do a team match for a while. I know I've done like a team league in the past, but they can be kind of a nightmare, to be honest. But when it's just a few pro gamers stepping up and not going through an actual team or anything, actual multiple teams or anything like that, it does make the organization simpler. It's pretty much, hey, you guys want to play some Starcraft? And they do indeed. All right, now DNS getting up that cyber core, moving out with his probe just to make sure there's no early lings or anything like that. It's not a super early probe or anything like that. You can't easily block on Cerulean Fall since it takes so long for that probe to get across the map. I don't even know the math on it, but instantly sending out a probe on Cerulean, I don't know if it could even block an early hatch. But that probe is scouting out, likely going to hang around at the third base or just check it out. Then the Adept, of course, going to follow it up for DNS, being chrono boosted out. That first Protoss scout. As far as the building goes for DNS, Stargate is the tech of choice. Since it is Cerulean Fall, you can definitely not blame him for going for that. It's very, very tucked away at the back of his base here, so Elazer may have a tough time seeing that. Stalker going to follow this up. However, this Overlord can always just find safety somewhere else. So this Adept, well, Probe for now moving across the map. Adept going to be following it up. Now, Elazer, he is the Hydra guy, and I mean, Hydras, they did receive a nerf on the Balance Test mod. So, I mean, his timing might not be as strong if he chooses to play that again, but it managed to work versus DNS. In the very first series of today. But, oh, wait, that Overlord not actually reaching safety, so DNS going to be able to pick it off. That's a very nice find for DNS early on in the game. Elazer going to be supply capped for a minute or two. But yeah, it's also sort of, it goes both ways. It's going to be tough for DNS to move out and go for any sort of push, but since Cerulean is a big map, there's lots of heads up for DNS if Elazer does go for a timing attack or something. And DNS, he is opting to go for double Stargate once again. Going to build up that Phoenix count and then move out on the map once he has enough of them. And as far as Cerulean Fall goes, that's not a terrible choice. He has skipped the Oracle this game, which will mean that he's somewhat vulnerable to Masslings. That is why Protoss players do build the Oracles, just tons of Zerglings. But, I mean, Elazer not committing to anything like that. He's actually committing to a Roach Warren here, so not really sure what's going on. He sees that DNS is still on 2 bases, and you never know what a Protoss player is up to. And has DNS... I don't even think DNS has revealed one of his Phoenix yet. I mean, the only Overlord that died was actually the only Overlord that died was the one that was killed by the Stalker, and so no Overlord has been sacked or anything like that. So Elazer's actually in the dark. He's got Lings hanging out to the right, to the north, and to, I guess, the northwest, in case something does fly out like a Phoenix, but nothing has been revealed yet. So Elazer, he's a little bit scared. He's making 6 roaches right now. He's going up to 8 right now. And I imagine this is because he's completely in the dark, so cutting a few drones, but these roaches will not help out versus the mass Phoenix play of DNS. DNS is going to be moving out a Zealot, an Adept, and a Stalker. It's also important to note that Elazer did cut speed this game. Those Lings still very slow, so he's not going to be able to run out with a ton of them, and DNS did see that he cut speed. So that's going to make DNS feel very safe versus this. As Elazer, he's actually just opting to get up his Glio Reconstitution, going to have those very fast roaches, but now the Phoenix come on in and they reveal themselves. This actually caught Elazer completely by surprise. So the Phoenix for DNS are going to come on in. They're going to start working away on this Queen. They can always pick her off. They've already killed one of them. And now DNS, he's going to be able to find an Overlord or two. He chose not to go for the drones, but he's going to have +1 for these. And now a Nidus is on the way here. But it's actually scouted by DNS, so he should be fully aware that this is incoming. Another Queen's likely going to get picked off here, so 4 Queens have died. So even if Elazer does go for a Nidus, it's not like he's going to have too much anti-air. Now roaches are going to be battering down the front base of DNS. He may actually just recall his Phoenix, and that is the choice that he goes for. He's got a few Stalker. He's going to have a few units here on the ground to buy time. Roaches are going to be picked up, though. These Phoenix don't have +1 yet, but once they do, they'll be able to make quick work of these roaches. And now they do have that +1. So actually, Elazer, he's actually just really getting shut down here. The fact that he lost his Overlord, so DNS didn't reveal a Phoenix at first, like this completely caught Elazer off guard. And now, I mean, there's a Nidus on the way, but there's only 3 Queens, and I think these Phoenix will be able to completely shut that down. And guys, this is the balanced test mod, so roaches or Zerglings actually able to surround this. I mean, more roaches are going to be spilling on out, but the Nidus goes down, and DNS, he's actually able to shut, like, he's going to lose a few probes, but he's shutting this down hard. Drones came out for Elazer to start Spore Crawlers, but that's not going to happen. DNS, I think he may be running low on Phoenix energy here, but he's got a lot of Phoenix, so he'll be able to start rebuilding that. Now some more roaches and Queens are going to pop out. Stalker's warping in. There's not too much energy here for DNS, so he is going to be losing some workers, but he's on 3 bases right now. Elazer's starting some Spore Crawlers in the base, which is going to make things rough. This Nidus, I mean, it's still alive. Nothing has been warped in to finish it, and these gateways going to be unpowered. However, these Void Rays are now popping on out, so he just really has to worry about these Lings in the base, and these are slow Lings. So DNS, I mean, he's lost a good chunk of workers, though. This was looking like a pretty good hold for him at first, but now these Void Rays, they've got to clean up all the roaches and everything else. A probe's going to come on down for DNS, but he's got to try and re-wall right now, and some probes are going to be in trouble, actually. They've got to run away. Another Void Ray is going to be on the way, but Elazer, it seems he may just be content macroing. He's getting up a 4th base. He's on 52 drones. DNS can produce 3 probes at a time right now, but I mean, while that was a pretty good start to the hold for DNS, Elazer did manage to get a good bit of damage done. This Ling actually going to force probes off the line there. That's actually a good bit of denied binding time. DNS just going to pull him into his natural here. So he can start rebuilding that worker count. He's most importantly, he's got the Phoenixes, but Elazer actually taps on out. As, I mean, I guess he didn't have an answer to the Phoenix. DNS, I mean, he lost a lot of workers, but Elazer only had Queens to deal with mass Phoenix. And so, yeah, GG. And now it's going to be DNS versus Mana, a PvP. All right. So it's actually, we've gone to the ace match, guys. And suddenly DNS is 1 map away from being able to take the win for Team France. And I mean, I'm sure that the French stream is going crazy right now. But fantastically done by DNS. That Phoenix build just working out well versus Elazer there. So now Mana versus DNS next. All right, as far as the map format goes, thanks to everyone for tuning on in. It's a PvP, so the map won't matter too much, but Mana, I mean, DNS. Mana and DNS are going to be going at it, and all it's going to take is DNS to win 1 more map, and it'll be a bit of an upset here. Team France being able to take it after being down 0-2 at the start. Winning the team match, very important for them. And then DNS maybe going to be able to come on in here with the clutch. Glad to see so many of you guys are tuning on in and enjoying the stream. If you are, you can always check out my Twitter and everything. The map will be Blue Shift. And this is the one for all the marbles, guys. I mean, this is winner take all here. Which will be, I mean, Team France going to be very happy with it if DNS can bring it back. And Team Poland, they got to be sweating right now. So it's a best of one. A PvP on Blue Shift for all the marbles. You guys can still support the Matcherino if you want the replays. These are some pro replays on the New Balance test mod. You can get those by checking out the Matcherino. And you can also support that Matcherino for free if you go under the Contribute tab. There is the option in order to just leave a few follows on a Twitter account, and you can add to the prize pool for free for these players. All right, but we're getting everyone on into the game. Mana versus DNS. Just gotta get all the other casters into the lobby. And I mean, these guys, Team France and Team Poland, definitely going to be backing their guy, hoping they can close it out. This determines whether they get a payday or not. But thanks to everyone for tuning on in. Really glad how this team match has worked out. Bit of an odd format and everything, but still really awesome. And thanks to everyone who has supported the event. But we're loading on in. It's a PvP on the map Blue Shift. Okay, here we are. It's a best of 7. Team France versus Team Poland. Spawning down the bottom left-hand side of the map. He's got to close it out for his team. It's Liquid Mana. And his opponent. Bringing his team back to life. It's DNS. So as far as PvP goes, I mean, DNS, he plays a fair bit of PvP. I've cast him versus players like Petit Drogo, who are very good, but Mana. I mean, he's going to be a tough player to beat, that's for sure. But I mean, of DNS, if he can fall Nerchio, if he can fall Elazer, Mana is certainly within the realm of possibility. And it will be a very impressive run for the French Protoss if he can get this done. So standard double gate coming out of both these guys. As far as the variation for PvP goes, it's pretty much, are they going to build 2 Adepts, 2 Stalkers, or a Sentry and a Stalker? Really, whatever floats your boat in PvP. Now Probe's going to cross each other. Now, I'm not sure I can promise anything, but I was thinking of maybe seeing if I could organize the winner of this versus Germany, perhaps, because there's a lot of very good players in Germany, so that would be another European match. But as for now, I mean, Poland versus France has really delivered. Going all the way to Game 7, I had my doubts, honestly, with how it was looking at the start. But now, as far as the builds go, slight variation here. Double Stalker for Mana, whereas DNS opting for the Sentry and the Stalker. Interestingly enough, Mana elects to build another pylon at his natural, whereas DNS Builds his in his main base here, gets up his Stargate, so making sure to keep that hidden. Whereas Mana, I mean, he's actually just opting to continuously produce Stalkers, so maybe looking to put a bit of aggression onto DNS. The Stalker for DNS is going to have to be careful, as I mean, Mana's going to be coming on in with 2. So DNS will be down on units a little bit. He starts his Nexus, however, Mana will be able to pressure this as he's going to have his 2 Stalkers followed up by another 2. Stalker gonna have to retreat for DNS. In theory, the Sentry should be able to force field, make sure that stays alive. However, now the Nexus for DNS gonna be starting to take a beating. He's gonna start a shield battery on his high ground to be safe. Zone 2 Stalker's gonna shuffle on down here. However, Mana, I mean, he's got his 2 Stalkers and he's got actually 2 more crossing the map, followed up by a pylon. So Mana's really gonna be laying on the gateway aggression right now. He's dealing a bit of damage to the Nexus. Of course, they have a lot of health as it's building. And DNS, though, he does have a hallucinated Phoenix, actually scouting everything out, seeing that Mana just committing into a lot of Stalkers right now. DNS, with that shield battery finishing off up on the low ground, should be able to heal up his units, take a good fight as long as he stays in the zone of that, so keeping his Stalkers alive, able to route Mana, it looks like. Saves his Nexus, and he also has the Oracle that's just popped out right now, so he's going to be able to maybe get a bit of damage done to his opponent here. He's going to fly on in with this Oracle, or fly on by with this Oracle. Doesn't see the Warping and Stalkers, though, as Mana. He's really looking to keep the aggression on DNS. DNS warping in another Stalker right now, but it's really just 2 gate versus 2 gate, but Mana has the slight lead in the Stalkers, and DNS not focusing down the injured ones of Mana. Probes are forced to be pulled into this. He's got his Oracle moving across the map, but if he just dies to all these Stalkers, it's going to cause a lot of trouble right now. The Oracle for DNS has come back home, but it is out of energy. Meanwhile, this one working away on some probes. I mean, the Oracle has a bit of energy right now. It's running out, though. And DNS, I mean, he's been forced to pull probes into this. Mana, he's got the overwhelming number of Stalkers. DNS is warping in 2 more. And I mean, DNS's Oracle, it killed off a fair few of Mana's probes. So all things said and done, I mean, they're very equal in supply right now. But the fact is, DNS, he's got double Oracle going for him. So he's definitely going to be able to look for some more damage. Meanwhile, Mana, he's got a lot of bruised Stalkers. He's warping in some more, maybe going to try and keep the pressure going. But yeah, his Stalkers are so bruised. They've just got their shields, some of them. DNS has to really respect this, though. Now the Oracles for DNS going to be looking for some counter damage. There's actually nothing at the natural of Mana. The main base is actually exposed, so these Oracles are going to be able to get tremendous damage done for DNS when they come on in. Mana's really committing right now, but DNS, he can afford to lose some probes here because he's going to be dealing some massive damage back on Mana's side of the map. Probes are starting to fall left and right. DNS is really taking the lead, and he's pushing Mana back. His probes are just chasing this for days, but DNS, he's pushed Mana back. Mana has Blink on the way, but that's not going to help him immediately. And look at this Oracle just sacking itself. Mana down to 9 workers, and suddenly it looks like Team France is looking very good in this show match. I mean, yeah, Mana, he's down to 7 workers. What's he got to do? I mean, right now he's got a superior Stalker count by 1, so he's going to need fantastic Blink Micro to close this out. DNS knows that all he needs to do is hold at this point. He's starting up yet another shield battery. Mana's Stalkers, though, are very bruised. He may actually just lose one right there. He loses one. Another's going to get volleyed down. His Blink is not yet done, and this timing just isn't going to work out for him, it looks like. I mean, DNS, he's trading out with Stalkers, but Mana will need to get enormous damage. DNS actually not finishing off some of those injured Stalkers. He's warping in some more of his own. The shield battery, though, on the low ground is going to help him out. Mana is going to be able to micro back with these Blink Stalkers now. Probes are going to be pulled into it. I mean, if Mana can control this perfectly, it can work out for him. He's up on army supply. DNS is finishing up a Robo, though. He's going to be able to start an Immortal. This shield battery keeping his units alive. DNS does lose a Stalker, but he can always pull probes into this once again. And Mana's reinforcements, they are not really coming because he does not have the economy that he needs to back this up. And once the Immortal pops, I mean, Mana's going to need a perfect engagement, and there goes one of his Stalkers. A second Stalker actually gets picked off. DNS knows that he just needs to hold right now. Probes have been pulled into this. He's trying to chase down those injured Stalkers. He gets another one. Mana with only 5 Stalkers make that 4. Probes are just being a good enough buffer for DNS right now. Mana's trying to produce probes back at home, but with the Immortal popping out, DNS is in a fantastic spot, and he takes it. France takes the show match 4-3.